Here we are, Coffee with Bob. And today I'm joined with Kay and Ken Marcia. Cheers, everybody.
Bob, how are you?
Great. Kay and Ken are just an amazing team. And I mean that. That's just, they've done just crazy good. So I'm going to introduce today the number one team for our company, Berkshire Hathaway Home Services Realty Professionals, in the marketplace with our company, and for 2024. So congrats. That's just amazing.
Thank you.
But what's even more amazing is a year ago, they finished the year at $17 million in sales. 17 million, which is phenomenal. In 1 year, they went from 17 million to $37 million in sales. I want you to think about that. $37 million in sales. Phenomenal. So first thing I want to do is talk to you guys. Tell me a little bit about your background, because I think that's what people really want to hear, a little bit about your background, about your success. Kay, I'm going to start with yourself. Tell me a little bit about your background, how you got in the business, and a little bit about yourself.
So I first started out as in the legal field.
Wow.
And I worked in a high-profile criminal law defense in Springfield, Mass. And I worked for a phenomenal attorney named Vinny Bongiorni, who just recently retired.
Wow.
And we worked together for 18 years or so.
Yeah.
And we had a great job. And then Ken and I got married. And I left that position because Ken at the time had a position that he traveled a great deal.
Yeah.
And we wanted to take advantage of that as much as we could. So I did. Then he was in aerospace. And so after 9/11, we decided we should also have some sort of a backup. So I went back to work, and my sister had always owned her own real estate office. And she'd always said, you should try real estate.
Yeah.
So I said, well, maybe it's time to try that.
Yeah.
So I started working with my sister, and I did love it. And I, within a year, was her top producer.
Wow.
So it was a great job. We really enjoyed it. Ken was still traveling quite a bit. And then we had the opportunity to move to Paris with this job. Right?
Yep.
Yeah.
At about that time, I actually was recruited from the aerospace industry to the oil and gas industry.
Nice.
And I was recruited by Dresser Rancourt, and we were traveling. I was traveling a lot. We actually had a second home in Western New York.
Wow.
That we would be traveling back and forth to. And then we had the opportunity to live in Paris for a couple of years.
Yeah.
As part of the corporation.
Very
and
nice.
I was a VP of supply chain.
Yeah.
And so if you can be a VP of supply chain, there's probably a lot of other things you could do too.
Yeah.
And so my background really was in corporate positions, and not just supply chain, but quality and manufacturing. And I actually have a pretty extensive lean background to coin the term lean.
Yeah.
And we do apply that to what we're doing and how we set up our systems and processes and data collection and things like that.
Yeah.
And when we left to go to Paris, Ken had said, of course, I gave up my job. And so Ken had always said, well, when we come back, we'll both go in real estate.
Yeah.
Right.
So that's what was our
I'd always been
ultimate
involved
goal.
in the background. When you started with Eve Crampton, who was actually one of the great brokers on our team.
Yeah.
I actually had set up a lot of the analytics in the background for the business that Kay was running back at that time. And so
made a huge difference.
That's just such an interesting background. Seriously, that's, kudos to you. We're very fortunate to have you. Ken and Kay have become friends over the years. Just, thank you so much for being part of Berkshire Hathaway. We really appreciate it. And you guys have a wonderful team. Had a little opportunity to kind of spend a little bit of time with your team, and they're just really great people. And Eve, I've known Eve since I was a little guy years ago, right? So first getting into the business.
Yeah.
So what I really want to talk about right now, though, is I think people are just going to be intrigued. Like, how do you go from $17 million in sales to $37 million. And I know a lot of your business too is between Massachusetts and Connecticut. You're both states. So talk a little bit about that. If you want to take that, Ken, to start with, and then we'll go from there. Talk a little bit about that.
Yeah, so we're about 75% Connecticut, 25% Massachusetts.
Okay.
And it depends upon the agents on our team.
Yep.
And our agents are fairly dispersed. And one of the reasons for that is that there's like a natural cooperation that the agents have with each other.
Okay.
And what we saw in 2023 is, the difficulty in the market. And in terms of getting from 17 million to 37 million, there really were three things.
Yeah.
One was we actually brought some really high talented folks on the team. I mean, it always starts with the talent of the team, of the people that you're working with. The second thing is we figured out how to leverage Zillow better.
Yeah. Okay.
That was extremely important. And so last year in 2024, about 60% of our leads for the entire team came from the sphere of influence, and about 40% came from Zillow.
Wow.
So that was a pretty significant change. But the third thing, which is maybe a little bit surprising to people, is 65% of our contracts were buyer contracts and 35% were listing contracts.
My listing side, yeah.
And it's in the market that we had last year, you could hear everybody saying, if I have a buyer, I get discouraged.
Right.
I don't want to do it. And it goes on and on.
Yeah.
But our team on a collaborative basis was able to share enough information to at least maximize our ability to win a highly competitive bid. And there was many of them that we didn't win. So we tried to hit all the angles, and we worked on that very hard last year.
Wow.
True. And we constantly look at our marketing. Where do we have our marketing dollars at any specific time? And do we need to change them?
Yeah.
And with this ever-changing market, you need to really be on top of that.
Right. Yeah, I know the ROI for every marketing investment that we have.
Yeah. So Ken knows his numbers pretty well. Okay, both of you do. He's a numbers guy.
He's a numbers guy.
But that's, that is absolutely just amazing what you've been able to accomplish. And I'm sure your level of customer service with your clients is just off the charts too, because you seem to know everything about the marketplace, and that's a very valuable piece of information that you could pass along to your customers and your clients to show them that you have value, because that's really what it comes down to. If we show value within this industry to every single person, that's who they want to work with, and they'll be repeat customers throughout the years. And I know we've talked about this. You've had several repeat customers over and over again.
We have one repeat customer to the family.
The whole family.
And we got a Zillow call one day.
Yeah.
We got a Zillow call for a house in Avon, Connecticut.
Yeah.
And this was 4 years ago.
Yeah.
We've now had 9 contracts with that family.
Wow.
And it's, the mother, the parents-in-law, the parents, two of the sisters, an investment property, an estate, so it just, and it just, every once in a while, I'll get a call from somebody in the family, and it just, they're great. Fabulous clients.
It just goes to show, if you do what's right and you really pay attention to what their needs are, the customer will respond and they will continue to give back. I mean, it's, that's what it comes down to, us continuing to service people. So thank you so much for joining me today. Truly appreciate it. And cheers to Coffee with Bob.